Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. We're still here at Cameron Sports Cars, and in this episode we're going to show you around the showroom a little bit more, give you some insight into some of the cars that have caught our eye, and I think we'll start with this 991.2 GT3 Touring. Now, this is probably rather predictable that I would start with this car, as it really is probably one of my dream cars. So what have we got here? We've got a 4-litre flat six, naturally aspirated, and as they would all say, revving up to 9,000 RPM. And we've got a 6-speed manual gearbox. I've been really fortunate to go out to Germany and see these being built, and it is absolutely amazing. Been to the factory in Stuttgart and Weissach, and there is a real love for these cars, particularly the touring specification within the community. I mean, why is that? Perhaps the more subtle looks, and obviously without wing at the back here. Suspension setup is actually the same as the wing car, which fortunately we have behind us as a comparison.
It's unusual, isn't it, that you've got these sort of two cars which appear to be the same spec. You know, they've even got the same carbon flash, if I show you over here, on the mirror, and yet one with a wing and one without a wing.
So for those of you who are listening as opposed to watching, these are in GT Silver, and indeed we've got ceramic brakes on both cars, buckets on the winged car, and the sports seats on the sports comfort seats on the touring here. But yeah, both really nice specs. Perhaps these, you would say, are good for the long term in terms of values. We'll talk a little bit more about values on future episodes of the podcast. There's been a lot of hype around GT3s in the last sort of 10 years or so, and clearly that is only going to continue. You know, particularly as the emissions regulations and restrictions get more and more onerous. Porsche have to fight harder just to keep in the game. I want to talk about this 987 Spider. This is actually for sale with Cameron, as many of these cars are. It does belong to my friend Andy, and certainly some good memories of chasing Andy over different parts of the English countryside. Really nice specification in this Spider. The red leather interior. Indeed, a friend of mine actually was the first owner of this. And it's been passed around a number of different friends, and yeah, it's really smart. I actually think these represent pretty good value, to be honest. You know, the sort of 987 Spiders and the Cayman R, so the Cayman equivalent hardtop. This car's in the classic white that the 987 Spiders often are, but very smart with the red leather, nice contrast. You know, makes a change from the black. I do think they're good value. You know, if you're trying to get into a Spider from a 981 generation or a 718 generation, it is significantly more, but this buys you into Craig's Spider Club, so you've got your ticket into the events there with the money for one of these. So pretty darn reasonable, if you ask me. And then
it is a nice car. I do like the sort of buttress effect with the roof.
The sort of double bubble effect.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember on an old episode of Top Gear, I think James May described it as a tramp's hat. It's it's certainly not to everyone's taste, but I do like it.
Yeah. Indeed, funny fact about that, that particular white 987 Spider that was used in the Top Gear episode, friend of mine, Steve, actually owns that car.
There you go.
And yeah, I have to say I was looking for evidence of it being covered in water when it was doused in by a fire engine, but fortunately that wasn't a problem. Yeah, I just want to move across and talk about this 968 Club Sport. I mean, this is a really, really interesting car. And again, actually did belong to the same friend who was the first owner of that white Spider that we talk about. So this is in the classic yellow that the 968 Club Sports were. It's got the yellow wheels as well.
Let's do a little walk around.
Absolute purity. Yeah, Jack, if you do a bit of a walk around, I remember going around Dorset in the Jurassic coastline in this car. This was really actually surprised me how it didn't feel its age at all. And it's got a 3-litre 4-cylinder, so quite a large capacity 4-cylinder, very torquey, and handled really, really well. Obviously, being the Club Sport, it was fully stripped out. It had the bucket seats, the Sport hardback bucket seats, and this is actually quite a rare car these days. So yeah, really nice car. Great example here. Pretty low mileage as well. I think this is a keeper for Camerons. It's sort of low 30s thousands in terms of miles, but yeah, really, really special, and I would say good value at the moment. You know, if you think about the kind of values on Porsches around this kind of age, they're really on the rise, and therefore, actually, 968 I would say is fairly undervalued. So definitely look into those if you're thinking of getting into one. Okay.
What have we got next?
Right. So what have we got next? Where to start? I want to keep coming. I want to talk about GT3s again, but I want to talk about 997 GT3. So we've got, well, 2 here. So we're spoilt for choice, particularly this Guards Red car here. Amazing specification. And I suppose what stands out about these, 997s are really getting quite the rap at the moment. Still got the hydraulic steering, still got the kind of more narrow body Porsche 911, and values are on the rise of these. Obviously, when they were coming out and launched in sort of 2010 for this Generation 2 car. We actually ended up, I remember, it was pretty easy to go and get one. You could go and buy one off Porsche. There was not a particular waiting list in the way that there are today, but they are still a limited car. I think that just summarises the demand that has built up around GT3s in recent years. This particular car, some of the sort of particulars: Guards Red with a black interior, nice Alcantara leather mix. This is a really nice example.
It's a nice
low
spec,
miles
actually. You
as
don't
well.
see them in red very often.
You don't, no. Nice, makes a change to see them from sort of black, silver, grey. But yeah, anything with a bit of colour looks good. I think values-wise, these are really, really sound and strong. And yeah, the 3.8 for the 997.2, but also get yourself a Gen 1 car as well. I mean, these were historically, famous for having the last of the Metzger engine, Hans Metzger, famous German engineer, and yeah, they have real character. And indeed, the modern engines are amazing and fantastic. This perhaps offers a more analog driving experience. Some would describe this generation as peak 911. Yeah, and I think with that, we're going to do a bit of a switch. And Jack, you're going to talk me through some of your favourite cars from here. Okay, so Jack, what have you found here?
Well, do you know what? What we've got here, not just one, but 2 tractors. I should say, I don't know very much about the Porsche tractors, but helpfully, Camerons have put a little sign here just to give you a heads up. But what I do know is that they started off Porsche, like Lamborghini did, making tractors. But what I think is astonishing is the fact that you've got one which is in this good condition. It's a Porsche Diesel Junior, and it's it's in their showroom. I think it's brilliant. They've got, by the looks of things, a sort of re-leathered or custom leather seat, which I think is a nice touch. I'm not going to start it up, but I trust that it runs.
Sure it does. What roughly year is this one?
Well, these are around, they started in the sort of 1930s, but these are around sort of 50s and 60s, and they produced them all the way up to that point. if you like, it's sort of their bread and butter. It's how they started. One thing I do like, actually, I do like 993s.
Oh yeah. Which is your favourite 993 in here? Maybe talk to us a little
Quite a
bit
few
about that.
993s in here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about my favourite one, which is the one over on the other side.
Okay, let's go over there and have a look at that.
And we can have a look at that. And of course, not to mention the wonderful stuff we're walking past. That's a 4-litre GT3
Yeah.
in Miami blue by the looks of it. Anyway, we're coming over here because this car, most of you will probably know, is obviously a 993 generation. But why I particularly like it is, I think it's got the best shape of any sort of fairly modern 911. It's the last of the air-cooled 911s. But this is a Carrera S, so it's got that much more power. And also the colour of it. I think it's a fantastic deep blue. I'm afraid I don't know the official colour. James may do.
Don't worry, we'll forgive you.
He may correct me on that one. But the reason I also like this car is it's almost identical to the car that David Beckham had back in the 90s. And that was a car which was synonymous with sort of 90s cool and Britpop. And yeah, it was a real poster car for many people. And I just think these things are fantastic. Not too long ago at Salon Privé, one rocked up and it had a slightly modified exhaust. And they sound proper. They sound amazing. They're
Last
brilliant.
of the air-cooled 911.
Yeah, exactly. They're brilliant bits of kit.
Okay, so Jack, what have you discovered here?
Well, this is a really nice car. I love the colour of it. It's been immaculately restored. It's a 911 2.4S. It dates to around 1970. What I do know is that almost 3,000 cars were made when it was new. So it's quite a rare car. The values of these are really strong. It's around 100 to 150 grand, depending upon the condition. This is really nice because, of course, it's got the old Porsche badge where you'll note it's orange rather than red, which I always think is a nice touch. Obviously, the single mirror at the side and the interior of this one is particularly noteworthy as well. Because
nice.
It's a sort of tartan
Houndstooth kind of
finish.
Interior, yeah. Nice Fouche alloys.
Yeah, really nice. So yeah, love one of these. I could see this at somewhere like Goodwood. It's a fantastic bit of kit. So yeah, those are my picks. Slightly older cars, but yeah, check out Cameron. They've got some amazing stuff for sale. And they're a lovely bunch of guys. So don't forget, join us on the next episode where we've got more car-based entertainment. And thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy. Bye.